Hello everybody and welcome to another video. First of all, I want to start with an apology as to why there hasn't been so many videos lately. The run-up to Christmas was quite busy, and then after that I had terrible car problems that needed sorting. The car's all good now, and it needed a service, it turns out, but it's all right now, touch wood. The other issue that I had was that I was ill over the New Year's period. I think the last video that I recorded would have been the hot tent one, and then I did the mix just after Christmas of all the best bits of 2021. So check that video out. Going back to the issues with my car, I thought it might be a very good idea to sort of do a bug out style video. So a bag that I'd leave in the car. Were we living in a more remote country? I think in this country you're never that far away from civilization. Well, you can hear the road behind me. I'm not that far away from town. The road seems to be quite busy, so another apology is for the noise. And whilst I'm making apologies, also apologise for the state of this bag. I took it on a bike trail just before Christmas. It was muddy, and most of that mud is now living on my bag, so there's that. So in the boot of my car, because I'll keep them in the car, would be stuff that I'd need for if I ran into any trouble, were it being snow or wind. It seems to be the problem that we've had just before Christmas. It was very windy. I did have a trip planned, actually. I was going to go and visit the coast, but I cancelled it in the end because the night before I was driving home from another town, and I must have crossed paths of 3 or 4 trees, actual whole trees down in the road, making it very difficult to get back. So that was fun. But I thought I'd talk about the stuff that I'd leave in my car in the event of an emergency. So you'd see in the boot there is a load of paracord, which is obviously very useful. I've also got a tarp there for any emergencies, dry change of boots and socks, a sleeping bag, anything to make sleeping out in the car a bit more comfortable if I needed to. And with the tarp I also have the option, I suppose, to not sleep in the car and have a shelter somewhere else. Obviously staying with the car would be a good idea, but like I say, I don't think there's many places in this country where you couldn't walk to somebody's house to get help, so it's kind of a hypothetical list, if you like. Moving over to the glove box, in there I've got a warmer hat than this, which would be great for sleeping in. I've got some Thinsulate gloves, which are only cheap, but they're quite warm, and an old head torch, which I have the means for charging with me in my bag anyway. But yeah, it's one that I've replaced with the O-Light, but it's useful to have a torch, especially this time of year, because it's dark so long. And if you needed to have a look at bits or pieces around the car, it's good to have a torch where your hands are free as well. Right, next I'll quickly go through what I'm wearing. And for that I need to step away from the camera a little bit. So I'm wearing, at the moment, some hiking trousers. They are fleece lined, so they're nice and warm. A little too warm perhaps. I've got a cheap pair of hiking shoes on, which I got from Atlas for Men, I believe it was. So they're quite handy. This I've had for ages. It's very warm, too warm for climbing up that hill, if I'm honest. And a buff, which can double up as a face covering, I suppose. But I always have to sort of pinch it there with my glasses. But that's surprisingly warm since I trimmed the old beard back. And finally, kind of a thin hat. This is more something to wear during the winter so that you don't have to see my mess of a hair. I've got more than one. But my mess of hair, so that's the reason for the hat. The glasses aren't sunglasses, they're my prescription glasses, but they do change when exposed to UV light, which I find very handy and useful when it's bright. Less so on a day like today when it's cloudy, because the UV still comes through and tints them. But yeah, so I just don't go around wearing sunglasses all the while, in case you were wondering. Okay, so let's go into the bag itself. The front pocket here, I don't think I've... Oh, yes, I have. Oh, that's good. I have a pair of gloves, just some thin gloves. Very useful for when my hands get cold. I don't tend to use them when I'm filming, to be honest, because my hands can go in the pockets when they get a bit cold. And also, I need to be able to click the buttons on the camera, which is my phone. Next, in here we'll also have my first aid kit. This goes in whichever bag I'm using for the day, usually. And I'll go through some of its contents now. It's just a generic first aid kit, really, but I have added a few things. So in here I've got my pill box, which is full of all the pills that might be useful. So we've got antihistamines, ibuprofen, paracetamol, Renes, calms, and pills for when your digestive system isn't behaving itself, because that's not a worry that you want in any sort of outdoor situation, least of all a survival one. So that's why they're in there. Okay, this is more of a summer thing, but like I say, I just keep it all with me. They're tick removers. I've got a little backup torch in here. Probably need to change the battery on that, but I think just for rummaging around in here be good enough. Then I think it's just generic bits and pieces. There's a lighter, matches, scissors, tweezers, not very good ones if I recall, some chapstick, which I forgot about, some safety pins, bandages, plasters, cotton buds, which could be useful for fire as well, a large bandage, yeah, just a generic first aid kit. There's this, like a bin bag in there, must have been what I used it for last time. So we'll go into the main pocket. Right, there we go. First of all, I've got this. You'll have seen this before. I like to stack bits and pieces inside it as well, but it is my cooking pot or cup with the folding handles. Still smells of the last fire, which would have been the hot tent fire. And inside here I will have the folding cup itself for the drinks and my meths burner, which I am going to put in my pocket now to warm up, and we'll come back to that later. Okay, so continuing on, next logical thing to show you would be the replacement bottle of methylated spirits. I don't have one of the fancy meths pourers. I just use these, to be honest. The lids are quite secure on them. They're child-proof as well. Or child resistant, we should say, because nothing's child-proof. Yeah, the only issue is with that is if it got hot, there might get a hole in it and then it might burst into flame. But yeah, we've got something that I'm going to attempt to do later. If I actually show you where you actually are instead of holding it up over there, you can sort of see what I'm going to do with that, but we'll come back to that. Next item that we'd have is something to eat. So if I get stuck, I want to have something that's going to be zero fuss. All I've got to do is add hot water to this. It is, I believe, one of the 1,000 calorie ones, so it should keep me going for a fair old while. And and it's an Expedition Foods spaghetti carbonara with the 2 tears. So you tear off one bit to fill it, seal it, let it rehydrate, tear off to eat. So that's good. Always have something to eat that'll keep. This will keep until 2015. No, 2025. 2015's been. So that's good. We have some water. I would normally take water with me wherever I'm going, at least a little bit of it. But that's more for today. But I could take the empty canister and fill it another time. Next we'll look at this just briefly, because it's my charging and battery pack. It's got, like I say, the battery pack is in there, my night recording light, just so I know where it is, some chargers, cables, everything for electronic equipment that's useful. Of course, having the car with me, I could use the cigarette lighter. However, it's a bit dodgy on my car, so I wouldn't want to rely on it. Next we have some Dimes and picnic bars, just for a sugary hit, and just good yumminess. Some calories, that's what's important. Next I'd probably take a few of these. They're in the bag anyway, for fire lighting. They're the wood wool waxed bundles. They work really well, actually. Then this is also a necessity, and it is my water filter. I've not used it yet. It's very important with this not to let it freeze, so that's something to remember. But yeah, it's my Sawyer Squeeze water filter. It's the second one I've had, actually. The first one I didn't put away properly at the end of summer before last, and I wasn't sure whether it would be safe or it had become a breeding ground for bacteria. So here's a fresh one, yet to be used, but good to have. They're cheap as well, that's why I like them. They're cheap and there's not much to go wrong with them. Next is the little folding stove to have with the Trangia burner. I won't get that out because I'm going to make a coffee later with that, and I'll show you then. Then also to go with that, although hopefully I won't need it on a day like today, is the windshield for it. So that was not a very used purchase, I'll be honest, but it's not windy today, so I probably won't use it today either. Then I'll quickly mention these 2 items, which are very useful. So obviously a knife would be handy for all sorts of tasks, whether it's cutting string or whatever, really, splitting wood, and then a saw as well, should I need to make a fire. If I am stuck and it's cold and I want to conserve the battery on the car, then I might set up the tarp in a lean-to or an Adirondack or something like that, and then go and make a fire and use the fire to keep me warm through the night. Second to last is my bag of treats. Well, I say treats, but hot drinks and like cup of soups and things like that are going to be very useful for keeping you warm if you do get stranded out in the wilderness. Also, it's just nice to have, isn't it? It's a little luxury. In the bag, this is a 20-litre carry-more bag, by the way, urban backpack. It's actually a 30-litre because it says urban 30 on it, so there we go. This is my sort of possibles pouch, really. I take this everywhere. So in it is a long spoon on the outside. Then in here are a folding knife, spoon and fork, which you'll have seen in other videos. I won't get those out now. And buried underneath that lot is a little compass. So inside the pouch, last time I opened this pouch I spilt food in it, so it could be bad. Oh, let's talk about these first. So there's the SOS whistle. I won't blow it because it's very loud, but that can be used for attracting attention. And then we've got a tiny little lantern. It doesn't show out a lot of light on this, but it's on a carabiner, so that's handy as well. You can sort of just about read with it. I'm not quite sure what else you'd use that for, but there we go. Okay, finally onto the inside. So we've got a fire striker here, the fire steel even, or the ferrocerium rod, and the striker. I carry those, and a lot of people ask me why, when you could just take matches, which I've got, or a lighter, just as easy. This will work when it's wet, I believe. I haven't really tried it, but I believe that's the case. Also, in here I've got an electronic lighter. It's just an arc lighter. The issue I have with this though is it runs out at the most inopportune times. Like then. And you couldn't write it, could you? So I carry that, but if I need to charge it I can. But I think what I tend to rely on is the fire steel and striker, or the ferrocerium rod and striker. Next in here we've got a plaster, because I'm forever cutting myself. Some antibacterial wipes and glasses or lens cleaner, useful for filming, just useful to have. I've usually got some of that Tinder card in here, but I have a sneaking suspicion I've run out of that, which is a bit of an issue. So I need to get more. Then over here again, lighter, pocket bellows, telescopic, good for getting a fire roaring. There's a very small open-all knife, which I won't show you, but it is on other videos. Pencil sharpener for turning twigs into wood shavings, which I think is always a good idea. And then in here another lighter and a knife. Yeah, and it does look like I've run out of that card, so I need to get more. Right, so I thought we'd come off the footpath just a little bit, just while I do this. I'm going to use this area over here, just to set up my stove, and I'll show you that now. And then we'll get this coffee on the go. Hopefully that'll be nice and flat. I think so. Okay, so the reason I put this in my pocket before is that, and I didn't know this until quite recently, methylated spirits, when it's very cold, which it is quite, I think it's just above 0 now, methylated spirits it doesn't light when it's cold. So hopefully I've warmed that up enough now that we won't have any problems. I am forgetting one thing though. These beans need processing, so I'm going to go and do that on that handily positioned stile over there. So let's go and do that. Watch me now as I fall down this hill and off into the road below. Okay, that'll do. Oh, that's working. Yeah. We'll go with that. Coarsely ground, and so some of them are still whole, but that'll probably do for what I need. So let's get back to making this, lighting this stove. Okay. There we go. Believe it or not, that is lit. There we go. This is what I mean by it's bloomed. All the spirits are just coming out of those little holes on the side. Right, whilst we wait for that to boil, let's talk about something. I don't know what, but it is nice to be out again, recording another video. it's been a fair old while since I've done one. In fact, I think it was October, maybe November was the last time I recorded a video. Like I say, I've been busy, and then a little bit under the weather. Speaking of the weather, it also hasn't been that great. It's been windy, very wet, not really any sort of weather that you want to go outdoors in, but make the effort. Today's not so bad. It's a bit overcast and a little bit chilly, but it's quite nice otherwise, but still very damp. And I can just see, I don't know if that's the cloud or the fog or chimneys, yeah. But it's good to be out again, and I hope to start coming out a bit more and recording some more videos for you this year. It took me quite a long time to move all of the videos over, but I've done that now, and now the new videos are exclusively going on the new channel, StrapsAdventures. So that reminds me that at the end I need to do a video on the other channel pointing people in the direction of this channel, and then hopefully we can start to grow some sort of community around that, which would be great. But regardless, I'm going to keep doing the videos because I enjoy doing them. We're getting close to a boil. What I'll do now is I'll put the coffee in and give it a bit of a stir. In we go with you. Yeah, I can see that's starting to boil now, so we'll give that a bit of a stir. I know that boiling does hamper the flavour somewhat, but I'm a little limited as to what I can do about that, to be honest. Okay, this is my plan. I have the knife on with a magnet on the lid. Let's see if I can put that out. Brilliant. Seems to be working. You're not quite in the centre there. That's better. Well, it's coffee coloured. Some sugar. I think that's only half, but it is a very small cup. Some creamer. Here we go. It's very hot, it would be. I say that a lot, don't I? Tastes like the coffee I have at home, if not a little earthy. I wonder why. That's weird. Maybe I have more sugar normally. I don't know. That's all right though. Right, I'm going to pack away the rest of my stuff now. Just waiting for the burner, the trangy burner, to cool down a little more before I put the rubber seal on it. That's important, otherwise it might melt. It was just cold enough to touch to take out, so it's probably fine, but again, let it cool down a bit. So thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, please leave a thumbs up, which I can't do because coffee and tripod. And subscribe to the channel if you're new and have enjoyed the video. Check out my other videos as well, and yeah, subscribe, click the notification bell if you want to get notified of new videos. That would really help out as well. and look forward to seeing you in lots more videos this year. See ya. Bye.